There's a good-sized militia there. That's going to help because the garrison, 208 troops. It's not very strong, though. But loyalty's going up, right? And that's going to be a nice bastion in the north. Of course, we want to fight the KHUZAIT. It's been, or not fight the KHUZAIT, but take KHUZAIT cities. It's been kind of ironic. And let's make sure we do an intro here so the fellas know what's going on. Welcome back again, friends, to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. Our YouTube channel is dedicated to all things Bannerlord related. You are watching our War Sales playthrough of KHUZAIT. We are trying to develop an incredibly badass army, kingdom, companion, all at the same time. We've got 2 cities and a castle, and hopefully we can get peace with the Southern Empire. We can get peace right now with Manchug, but I would rather get peace with the Southern Empire. We need to take some KHUZAIT locations to develop a KHUZAIT force, right? Otherwise, we're going to have an Imperial force. Both of our cities are Imperial. Now, you know, it's starving there at Onira, but we just dumped a bunch of food. They should be okay. We've got our companion down there rampaging, and this is beautiful, right? This is one of the best perks in the game. This is going to make our character a beast overnight, right? We start gaining massive hit points. He's going to run around the battlefield quickly. The other skills are coming along nicely. And again, our idea here is to get to 9 endurance, maybe 10, and 10 intelligence so that we can get, you know, the big time medicine skills. Now this gal, leveling up nicely, and we are going to develop her as a clan leader, a future clan leader. This is part of Bannerlord, is you need friends. Right now she's in the training ground stage. She's got a cavalry army, and her job is simple: destroy raiders, right? She's got her training wheels on, and hopefully with a nice army full of elite cavalry, she can get all kinds of skills: tactics, leadership, steward, medicine, etc. Because we need friends, right? It's just us and a couple 3 armies. We've got 2 small garrisons. And we're lucky the Asurai haven't declared war on us right now. Maybe Huss and Folk, and we could also, well, we're not going to, hello. I was going to say, we're not going to declare war on the Asurai. This might be a clan leader. This might be the clan leader of the Brotherhood of the Wood, and he is, right? So we desperately want to cut this guy off. We have plenty of money, so we're very eager here to hire a minor clan. Usually they go the opposite direction of you. And there he goes. As soon as I said that, he's running off. Looks like he's just heading down here to help the patrol, engaging deserters. So here I'm gonna help him. Let them engage first, and then you come in behind and they're like, thank you very much, even though obviously he doesn't need our help. You want to have good relations with your minor clans, otherwise they won't join you, right? You got to be careful, especially don't execute minor clans. Word gets out that you're an executor. And now if we can click this guy here, come on. Damn it. There we go. All right. Beautiful, right? Not only do we get this guy, and he's going to be able to join our army with 100 troops, but he comes with 2 or 3 other armies, right? Small armies, but it's still helped. We just added considerably to our field resources here. And he's an archer. It's an archer minor clan. That's fine, right? That fits our kingdom narrative here. I would have preferred we got like the Beni Zalal or something like that. And I think let's make a food loop here, right? We're still consolidating power. We need food desperately. We need troops desperately, right? Now here, this is what I'm talking about, right? She's gaining athleticism. She's out in the field. She's wrecking shop, and we don't need her, right? We're handling everything with our army. She's going to be tremendously valuable for us in this campaign, and I think this is the optimal way to do it. She's rocketing around the field. Every time there's a village on fire, she runs over and bops him on the nose, gets a bunch of experience, gets a bunch of steward, etc. Once we develop her into a clan leader, she's going to be very powerful. She'll probably have an army of 140 to 180 men. A few times I've actually had companions get above 275 medicine skill, right? She's got a chance because we are power leveling her from the outset. Now, we've only got enough for one policy here, and I'm not desperate, but there are some pretty good policies at this stage. And I think you want to focus on loyalty, but you also want to focus on gaining influence. I think this is probably a good one here, right? Every battle we get more influence. You want to develop your influence. There's another one, Councils of the Commons. This one's good too because every single day you get influence. It's passive, right? That's perfect. Every day we get 3.5 influence, and that'll go up a lot. What that's going to do is help our influence build. It's a savings account. We just spent 100, and in 25 days it pays for itself, right? 20 days. And there's nothing urgent right now. Look at that shit. She's just capturing people left and right. She's gaining steward skill. She's gaining all kinds of skills. It's a beautiful thing. So you got to have cavalry, realistically, to have a companion like that. Otherwise, they get captured. They get hit by 3 or 4 armies, and I almost declared war accidentally on the Aserai while I was thinking about her being out there. I think about this woman a lot, right? She's out there doing hard work for our campaign. We're going to keep a close eye on her, too. If she runs way off into the distance, I don't know if we'll show you hideouts. We'll see. I guess we can do a hideout or two. It's no big deal. I'll just keep talking. We want to keep an eye on her, right? If she rockets off into the distance and starts raiding enemy villages, that's the easiest way for her to get captured. And obviously that's a huge net loss because we lose those 100 very strong cavalry. Almost her whole force is cavalry. And obviously what that allows her to do is both run away from dangerous targets, but obviously run them down too. Anybody raids, she runs over and they can't even get away because she just rides them down. So very, very effective way to develop both an army out in the field, and then of course eventually a player clan. She's going to be a beast. So you see these raiders down here. I won't be surprised if she rips down here and sacks them too. So you got to keep an eye on her troop level too, right? Every once in a while we'll feed her 5 or 10 more cavalry, but it's free. We can invite her to the army anytime we want and stuff her full of troops. Now we'll and in this campaign we're going to get into the weeds on developing player clans. I have decided to take this campaign a little bit longer than most campaigns. I don't know how many episodes. I won't give you a number. Speaking of a number, here's a very nice helmet. And it's not a fortune. It's 155. We can definitely afford it. And we can also sell a bunch of stuff here. So I think you don't pass up a helmet with a 60 rating. I might give it to Rhea the healer, right? And she can be out there with her badass helmet. And we can sell a bunch of goods here. Now, I ran down to this city mostly because we're going to take all of their resources, all their food, all their camels and horses and everything else, and sell what we can here. We're in pretty good shape for money, but we need troops, we need food, we need resources, right? So we're hitting villages. Hopefully we're not hitting villagers. I almost raided, I don't know if you saw it, I almost raided one of their villages by accident, which is a disaster diplomatically, right? The enemy's like, you son of a bitch. Especially if you do it without declaring war. It's like a Pearl Harbor attack. All right. So get some more food here. Away she goes, right? And you're going to see me following her progress a lot. Right? It's pretty easy to keep an eye on them. And as long as they're within your own kingdom and you give them good forces, most of the time they're going to survive, right? And we can just 106, right? She's got a bunch of prisoners. Every once in a while, too, I'll take all her prisoners. And let's just do this shit. We'll just keep on rolling. So player clans, my rule of thumb here, and we'll bring a couple of these, doesn't really matter. We're just going to be able to crush this. I shouldn't have to focus too much. One of the keys to player clans is having the right resources for them. You need to give them money. You need to be able to give them influence, right? In fact, this is a good opportunity here for me to get some throwing skill. I'll just keep talking about player clans here as we rip up these poor villagers, these poor hideout guys. Die, you pig, and he gets lifted off the ground by a javelin in the head. Our character is going to be lethal once he gets the 250 throwing skill. He's already wrecking shop with his bow. He's a great cavalryman, and he's already got nasty throwing skills, right? Everything he hits is insta-killed. Once he can throw through shields, he's going to be a menace because nothing will be able to really, deal this guy any kind of danger. It's going to be blowing up legionaries and then shooting all their archers to death. So what kind of resources, right? They need food, influence, how much, right? A good rule of thumb is I don't start making player clans until I can easily give them 200,000 gold. Why would you give player clans gold? Because that's how they build armies. They need money to both have a garrison. They need money to build armies themselves, right? If we made her a clan right now, she's got to have 2,000 or 3,000 a day to pay for her cavalry army. They have to pay for that. All your little units run around within the economy of Bannerlord, and they have to buy horses and food, and they have to pay their garrison. It's a pretty good system. It's a pretty good system as far as it goes. That guy went, why? He gave a big war cry, and then got drilled in the face with a javelin. So 200k gold. Now you give them 20, right? The game makes you give them 20, and that's basically the game watching out for players, making sure that their player clans aren't homeless and broke, right? Now they're not homeless because you have to give them a fief too. You have to give them money and a fief. And I don't think they start with any influence, which means you also want to give them influence too, right? We'll talk about that more, but I like to give them at least 200 or 300 influence off the bat, and that of course allows them to make parties of their own. Make armies of their own. We'll just smash these brigands here and cruise right through this. I'm not going to do many more hideouts. This was just a quest. It was like convenient, and so we're just going to do it. At this stage, we don't need hideouts, right? These are like kiddie game JV kind of stuff, and we're ready for the big show, right? We're starting to take on whole big armies and conquer kingdoms at this stage, right? This campaign is not just full speed ahead; it's explosion speed ahead, right? Our kingdom strength is going to like triple in 5 episodes. Probably take Odok. Urzener Castle might be a good target. In the short term, we want to continue to consolidate our resources here. You want to continue to dump food. You want to continue to gather as many peasants as you can from local villages. You want to continue to stop Raider. And look at that shit. She's after somebody, right? You could just tell that village was being raided, and now she's after him. And then when they stop, what do you think that means? She's actively taken him prisoner. Look at that. She just captured another guy, right? That's like 5-6 people that she has captured. I don't have to do a thing. We just have our attack dog ripping up everybody while we handle other business, right? That's one of the hardest things of Bannerlord at this stage is you got a lot to accomplish in a limited amount of time because the enemies are coming, right? We know Manchug, we know the Southern Empire. They're going to send armies at us. And so you're in a hurry at this stage to get a lot done. Yeah. Continue to recruit every single time we see troops. A lot of this I'm going to try to do off camera, but at least the first couple 3 hours of being independent here, I'm going to try to include a lot of this too, right? We've got a bunch of food here. You want to keep an eye on your food resources. I take the luxury food because that helps our steward skill develop, and I leave the citizens a bunch of bread, right? They're all carb addicted. Works for us, right? Our army gets extra morale, extra steward skill from the variety of food. I roleplay that our troops dig it, right? They're getting beer and cheese and dates and shit like that. Every battle we crush the enemy and have a 7-course meal, right? The morale should be 300, not 100. And it's in good shape. Now, some people here would change the daily default or even start building. I'm not gonna. I want the militia at 400 or 500 at Danustica before we start to change it to other projects. Defense is way more important than building, you know, whatever it is, a hut or some of the building projects. If you can't keep the city, what the fuck's the point of upgrading it? It'd be like, you know, building an immaculate a walnut cabinet, oak, you know, marble countertop kitchen, and then neglecting to put locks on your doors, right? You're going to get robbed. So 2, 3, 26. This guy too, Cadfin or whatever, the dipshit, he might be a clan leader as well. I like to develop 2 or 3. And in most campaigns, I don't make more than 2 or 3. I tend to make my clans stronger and not have that many of them. We had a disaster of war scenario that I turned down. The guy had 15 clans. None of them had any property. It's useless, right? Because basically it's a bunch of homeless nobles. It's like France. The Déhogés, or whatever they were called in the late 1700s, they were noble, but they had no resources. They were all broke, living in run-down, disheveled mansions, and it was illegal for them to work because in France, if you're a nobleman, you weren't allowed to work. Like they couldn't, even if they wanted to work, they would have their nobility taken away. So you don't want to have a bunch of useless, broke nobles. And those are, they just got a quest coming back. Those are our two enemies fighting it out here, right? You kind of want to just let them hack away at each other. At the same time, like opportunity, right? We might be able to swipe in and stomp them both, but we could also capture prisoners that way, right? Or more accurately, get troops that used to be prisoners. So let's go to where the action is. At this stage, we definitely want to expand, but you know, if we can punch a couple people in the face here at the same time as expanding, let's take advantage of it. Look at Rhea the Healer, gain steward skill. Rhea the Healer, gain leadership. She captured somebody else, right? Every time you see teal, where it's not our army, that's her. Right now they're scattering. We came in here and all the little... They're in there. They're inside that castle. They don't show up because they're not Southern Empire. And I was going to say, how can they go in that castle? They just got peace. So I was very confused there for a second. So what do you do here? Well, you just simply move away, and the AI is just dumb enough to come out and get sacked. Once you move away for a little bit, it's like taking candy from a baby. I did that a couple times in my life, right? There was a newborn trick-or-treating, and I went up and shoved his mom and took all their candy. And you can't tell my dark history or my dark humor. I'm not pushing any babies in real life. Come on out. Come and play, you dipshit. Look at that. He came out right in front of us. Well, they're dead. You're not making it away. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Look how bad luck that is. Our minor clan just ditched us, and then I quickly clicked, so we lost 2 armies, and then we got attacked. Well, this is what tactics are for, right? The oh shit situation. That's a casualty of the better time mod. We were running at like 10x speed, so a lot of shit happened in like the blink of an eye. On normal Bannerlord, we would have been able to go back probably and get our minor clans, tell them you're not leaving. Now we're going to be lucky to survive this battle. Although, you know, the power bar favors them significantly. I just don't think that means shit, right? We've got elite tactics. We can go back, hopefully, and slap our former minor clan. I mean, we've only had him for like 10 minutes and he ditches us. Scum minor clans. And that is something that I have brought up to Tailworlds in the Discord directly and said, please fix this, right? They should never just ditch you in a moment's notice like that. It'd be like if divorce, you could just get divorced by sending a text. I'd like to get divorced. I'd like to get married. The divorce rate would triple. All right. We got to protect this first division, and I'm going to continue to use this little circle. I think it's kind of a fun little tactic. It's shield and shock with peasants, right? Because we still have 40, 50, 60 peasants every battle. And it's not an easy battle, right? In theory, we're in trouble here, but I've got some nice rocks to buttress forces here on the left. We should be able to find a nice spot here to make a defensive entrenchment. There's a bit of a ridge towards the center. Now, if you were really desperate, you just run down to the beach like we did like 5 episodes ago. We don't need to do that here. We're not going to use scummy tactics too often, and some people, of course, don't consider that scummy tactics. I guess what I'm going to say is we're not going to take the easy way out every single opportunity. There's a chance we lose, even though we're trying a little bit harder approach, but I'm not too worried about it. I don't think we're going to lose, and we're definitely not just going to immediately take the easiest approach every battle. You'll see us move away from the back of the map frequently, and that's intentional. Even though the easiest way to beat KHUZAIT is to move to the back of the map, you're not going to see us do that, right? Unless we're put at the back of the map and have no choice. And out of the way here, fellas, you're clogging up the fucking road. All right, we've got essentially a weak reverse slope decline. There are different strengths to them. All right, some reverse slopes are incredibly steep, and they're not weak, right? They're strong. Let's make sure this first division, look at them in there. That's great. There's a bunch of peasants in here protected. I'd be happy as a peasant in there, right? You got a bunch of elite cavalrymen standing in a big orderly circle with their spears facing out, right? You're still vulnerable to arrows. They're going to get shot at here, but not as vulnerable as if they were standing out in the open. And the enemy's even more vulnerable here to the hail of darts we got coming in here. We got to get more comfortable. Damn, we exchanged shots there. We got to get more comfortable with our glaive. I got to focus on power leveling this, although we won't do it to an extreme level, just kind of like a normal play level. And you're more vulnerable than having the spear, right? We had a spear 3 episodes ago, but the glaive long term is obviously the weapon you want as the KHUZAIT. Not only is culturally appropriate, but there's no question once your character's higher level, it's better DPS. And as long as your character survives, the only thing that matters is DPS. And bigger battles, of course, we can play a little more defensive. Now over on this left side, we're bracketing our archers there with cavalry. We don't have enough cavalry yet for me to feel like we can go offensive. And more importantly here, the enemy's attacking us almost exclusively with horse archers. So you don't focus on going offensive here, right? Attack their forces that are attacking you, and then we'll handle the rest of their troops. And look at our little peasants. They just ragdolled a couple of horse archers. I love it. All right, they're charging over here, cavalry. I can play the 9th Cav Division. I just fly right in here, and as soon as you stop a few guys, it really slows down the charge. Right, we still got some guys stabbed there, but it wasn't like a huge massacre of our archers. They're starting to move their vanguard down. That's good. We want their vanguard to come in, right? Come and get it. Look at our little peasants here hacking guys right around them. I see guys swinging their scythes. Now, we don't need them annihilated here by the enemy infantry, so I'm going to open the center. The archers here can be tucked in just a little tighter. Spread out, boys. Just put these guys in a big, wide open arc. Open up the center here for all these soon-to-be-dead KHUZAIT. And we're not just beating this force, we're thrashing. this KHUZAIT force. They fucked with the wrong con here. Smoking guys with our arrows now. We're gaining levels. All is good. We've got horse archers in huge numbers right in the middle here, and it's basically just mobile archers. These guys here we can just spread and whatever. You can also charge at this stage. I don't have a problem with that, but I'll just try to be efficient here. Now we should probably keep these archers back a little bit, but there's like 100, maybe KHUZAIT here. Let's send in our peasants again here. And what are we doing, right? We're getting levels for these guys. These guys won't be recruits next battle, right? These guys are going to be the KHUZAIT shieldmen or whatever they're called, right? The KHUZAIT footmen. They're going to be Imperial infantry. And those guys upgrade here, right? They upgrade to the Coast Guard, or at least the, what's the tier 3? I think the shipmate or something like that, right? The tier 3 javelin guy comes from an infantryman. So in 2 battles, we're going to have a lot of our recruits turn into good skirmishers. Because they are trying to reform with some archers here, and they got mangled. Something fierce. They're all attacking like 2 guys here. Stand still so I can shoot you. And this battle's over. And you're going to see me speed through the end of some of these battles, right? Because this battle is definitively over. We'll just hit the fast forward button here and wrap things up. They have reinforcements, it looks like, are coming, but I don't really want to. I don't want to finish these battles the normal way. You're going to see me do this a lot, where I just stand still, look around, and wait for the cheering troops to follow. And that's what I'm talking about. Even though we got screwed over by that minor clan, we have 4 times as many upgrades as Death. A bunch of more KHUZAIT throwed their goods and their reinforcements, or their influence and everything else at our feet here. And some nice celebratory, gentle music starts to play. So it really is, you know, it's like 2 steps forward, 1 steps back, right? We're going to be attacked, and we're going to continue to expand, but you don't just fly straight to the next city. You want to consolidate your gains first. You want to get some minor clans and stay right there. Look at, he's trying to leave. Hell no. You're ours. We got him. And I want to, of course, execute the guy. Like, don't ever leave again. This guy just completely committed treason. Once in a while, they'll actually join your enemy in a situation like that, and you can get attacked by a guy that was literally your ally 2 seconds before. You know, I understand why people execute in Bannerlord, right? That's ridiculous. In real life, that would definitely be grounds for execution. There's no way that would be a thing in real life. Now, mercenaries definitively change sides, but they would do it like once a year, right? The German mercenaries, especially in the 1600s, 1500s, they would, you know, they would fight for the Holy Roman Empire, and 2 years later they'd fight for, you know, some completely other side, the Habsburgs 1 year and the French the next. But you would never do it like in 1 day, right? You would be probably executed for that shit. And we got lots of recruits, but they're leveling, right? We're starting to get marksmen and heavy lancers and stuff like that. It's probably going to take us 5-6 episodes until we can really get a KHUZAIT force going, right? We got to take Odok, maybe Urzener Castle, and then we're just going to move straight up into KHUZAIT territory. Even if Manchug is begging us for peace, we're not going to give it to them, right? We want their territory, so it's going to be a hostile takeover. And, you know, if other kingdoms declare war on us, we'll ask for peace. We'll pay them. We don't have any lack of funds at this stage. 835,000. And that's including buying that beautiful armor, right? Beautiful helmet. We could also leave, I'm trying to think. Sometimes it's nice to have 2 attack dogs out there, right? 2 different companions that have 100 cavalry, 120 cavalry. But I don't think we have quite enough troops at this stage to risk that. We could still get attacked by a force of 1,500 here. And if that happens, then you intentionally weaken your army to have too many troops in the field, so to speak. And you just died, right? This guy here. It's another one of the AI problems, right? They'll just attack right in front of you. Attack, you know, some useless target, and then they get captured. Now, when do we make minor clans, right? That's a judgment call, of course, depending on your war situation. It also depends on where the properties are, right? If we get some space between some of our cities, in other words, if there's cities in between where those cities are that we want to give. And look at that one, plus 5 hit points to all the party, right there. All the troops in the party. 8.9, and you push it here, right? We just leveled up again, so 10, 8. Level 32, we're going to be at our goal, which is 9 endurance, 10 intelligence, and then the rest is gravy, right? If we hit level 36, might go all the way to 10 endurance as well. Of course, some guys are saying, well, just smith. I don't think we're going to smith. I fucking hate smithing. It is the correct thing to do here, though, right? If we don't do it, I would say this is an ideal character spec, except smithing, right? Like obviously, if you don't mind the tedious nature of it, smithing is definitely going to make your character stronger. Maybe we'll do it. We'll see. There's been a lot of demand for me to make this weapon and that weapon. I'm not a smithing master. I have not smithed with war sales, so I have no idea, right? I don't think I'll have much to add to the channel. That's a big garrison, right? There's a lord here, 700 troops, but we have more, right? Now that we've been adding these villagers, we have all 4 of the minor clan dudes with us here, and they don't have great troops. I see looters and whatnot, but that's okay, right? Might makes right, and when you have a whole bunch of infantrymen and recruits, the enemy, of course, is going to have them as well. Don't forget that 700, 240 of them are militia, right? Those guys are going to get mauled. And we've got good siege tactics, of course. We've definitely developed strong offensive siege tactics to complement the defensive tactics. And you don't bother here waiting, or you don't bother rather charging early, right? You don't want to attack here if they have 2 or 3 fire catapults. It'll take me another day or 2 to build a ram and a tower. So as soon as their fire catapults are gone, and maybe we might even go before that catapult. We'll see. We're going to be able to build this siege tower. I'd like to have a siege tower for this kind of a siege, right? It's a lot of troops we're facing. Incidentally, too, and this is important, the AI knows how to defend Odok. They're quite good at defending it. And our upgrades here, I didn't even notice this. Just a huge amount of upgrades, and I guess we'll stay mobile with our archers. We're definitely going skirmishers, right? 90% of our infantry is going to be skirmishers. And we're not going to have very many infantry. The long-term goal, once we have an army of 600-700 KHUZAIT, is 0 infantry. We won't have any. All right. So Odok is a huge courtyard city. This is actually a really well-designed city for defense. So this isn't going to be easy. We need to be methodical here, and I want to continue to try to level up our skill in engineering. This guy does not have good engineering skill, and so we got to get 2 or 3 more sort of lucky fire catapult shots with our character here to really start making an impact. Then we have fire catapults, and the difference is night and day. It's a little bit like the 250 throwing perk. As soon as you're throwing javelins right through shields, the game is just total easy mode, right? Legionary coming right at you, no danger. Catch this. And we don't have... Oh yeah, we do. We have enough captains. We can borrow here from these archers. We'll see if it happens here, right? The bug that a lot of guys complain about, I think happens usually when you don't have enough captains. When you can't assign a captain to all the divisions, then the game will take away your divisions. It'll consolidate them, right? You don't lose the troops, of course, but it just puts them all together in one division. And I think it might even be intentional. A lot of people think it's a bug. It might be the system in Tail Worlds trying to help people, thinking that they don't know what they're doing by having 6, 7 divisions and 4 captains. And that looks good. Of course, archer superiority, right? Anything shooting from the wall is going to get shot off the walls. That's not what I'm worried about. What I'm worried about are the archers in the courtyard. And then they have a ballista. I gotta watch out so I don't get blasted off my horse. Now, it's not a great opportunity here for the fire catapult because there's not obviously a big spot where the enemy's going to be skewerable. The rocks are so wild, it really is like you're drunk. They just fly all over the place, and then the fire catapults are lethally accurate. Like you can hit, within 3 to 5 feet of your target. Meanwhile, the rocks just get flung all over the place. They nerfed them something fierce, right? Before the 1.3 and War Sales update, your non-fire catapults are actually quite usable. From a keep, of course, they were still sort of fire catapults. They left like flaming contrails. And they were as borderline as powerful as the fire catapults, as the fire mangonels. Now they're terrible. Right? A really good shot with a regular catapult now on defense, and you kill 5. Before, you killed 35, right? You kill huge waves of troops. We can bring these guys over if I'm getting shot at, something fierce. You see hardly any archers, and that's again because the AI here, I think, is putting heaps of archers in the courtyard. Now these guys, they just have no chance, right? These guys, we have 150, 200 archers right here. They're gonna get shot to fuck. They will eventually get shields here, and of course that's when you let them have it with your skirmishers. We do have this skirmisher division. You can actually see a lot of the units with their putting up their shields that are archers. That's because I've been pairing archers and skirmishers. I think that makes sense, right? We've got sharpshooter, or not sharpshooters, we've got Imperial Sergeant Crossbow. They're basically, I like to think of Imperial Sergeant Crossbow as skirmishers, javelin throwers with more ammo. They're obviously not javelin throwers, as these Khuzait just get melted. They're crossbow, but they run out of ammo fast, right? Just like your crossbow guys, and the similarity also with the shield, right? They're very capable at melee, and of course, they kill at range too. So maybe we don't even bother with the catapult here. Like we're just ripping through everything here. We gotta keep pushing our engineering skill, but it's hardly an emergency, right? It's not like we're losing sieges because we don't have the perk. Let's see what this looks like if we can just cram our way through the door. Soldiers! Most places, right, this is the best approach to siege. There are some cities and castles where I find it a lot better to roll up the enemy from the walls, from a tower or something like that. But watch what we do here, right? You just tell the troops to go past all the little militia and whatnot. Tries to close us off here, and as soon as you get a little tiny gap for your troops to start squeezing in, they're doing a pretty good job here, but look at those guys snaking through on the right. As soon as we get behind them here, in like 10 seconds, the siege is going to be over, right? Well, I feel like Denzel Washington looking around at all the gangsters in just 19 seconds. So he's like, this siege is over, and all these little bootlickers with their pitchfork, no problem, right? We're picturing how we're going to kill them all. Now, they actually have a lot of militia here, and there's a lord right at the main gate. I guess I can eliminate this lord. Have one in the jugular there, dude. Have another one. Hurts, don't it? Alright, so a bunch of reinforcements just poured out, and they're making the gate a little bit muddy here, but these are weak little militia. And, 19 seconds. I don't know. It's going to be close to that. Maybe we got 5 seconds left. And now nothing left but to commit some war crimes on our future militia here. Militia should probably route more readily, like to be somewhat more historically accurate. These guys are getting slaughtered in this fight. There's no way that a bunch of guys who, don't forget what militia is, right? Most of these guys, they would have a job in the city. They'd be maybe a shoemaker or a blacksmith or something like that. And the Lord, basically said, no, today you're fighting. They give them a little shield and, a sickle like they have. But these troops aren't hardened. They don't know what they're doing. There might be instances in history where the militia got a lot of drilling and maybe they gave them some good equipment or something like that. But usually, militia is what it is. It's a bunch of civilians. They would rout for sure. If they saw the frontline troops getting blown up like we just did right there, the militia would just throw their arms on the ground and flee. They are running now, and they do rout. It is true that they rout faster than regular troops, but I think in Bannerlord it should be even faster. If you get throttled like that, you would just say, to hell with this job. I'm going back to being a blacksmith. But then again, all of the units in Bannerlord don't rout, right? Historically, troops would throw their weapons on the ground or whatever, give up when half of their army was destroyed, right? Usually that never even happened. They would just run away. And fight another day. But in Bannerlord, they fight like until the last guy. It's a classic example where they don't really want realism to oversaturate the game. Right? It's fun that the enemy fights to the last man. And in fact, like when they run away in siege, it bothers a lot of people, including me. I was amongst some of the people on the Discord with Tailworlds trying to get them to change that. Make it so the enemy, you know, when you destroy their siege weapons and they have 2,000 forces and they all just flee and you capture them all, that's definitely a fix they need to make. And this guy here, he's running away, and I want to both set up the garrison, but I also want to set up another companion here with cavalry. So I need to take a break. Nature calls. So we'll get right back to this. All right. There's a good amount of food here. I wish there was more. Although, never mind. We got lots of food, right? We got, it's time for some mutton, barbecue, and soups. 900 sheep. Now, you used to get hides from this, too. You don't get hides anymore. The only thing you get hides now from are cows. I'm not sure why they did that, but they did that. I'm not a big, you know, crafter and workshop guy and stuff like that, but, you know, if you had hides and you had a good workshop, you make a fortune just slaughtering animals. I think that's pretty realistic, too. I'm quite sure that your resourceful kingdoms in the year, you know, 1088 or whatever, were slaughtering and then using the whole animal. They would use the bones. They would use everything. And of course, you gardeners know what bones are for. Maybe that could be my next little brain wandering idea. The resources. What are bones? You fellas know. Come on. MPK. You guys know the 3 major resources for gardening. Phosphorus. That's it. That's exactly right. They're the primary element that's necessary for fruiting, whether you're talking about a tomato plant or strawberries. And I want them to engage here. We've got our little cavalry army, right? She's going to help us round up these raiders. And I think we'll give this KHUZAIT force a discount. I do this sometimes because it's kind of an easy way to manipulate the AI. I'm pretty sure they'll attack us here. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I want to destroy this force, right? I don't want them to siege, so that way we can go to the next target. And now we're isolated. I'll be surprised if they don't turn around, huh? Wow. I mean, they're almost 200 more troops than us, and they won't fight. Well, I guess we could drop even more here. We're a little faster than them, so I think we'll just run them down here. That's amazing. Oh, I think I wounded their pride. Now they're engaging. All right. Now, I don't want to recruit too many prisoners here, right? We talk about that sometimes. If your army is too strong, they'll change their mind. I want this force to attack us. I don't think it matters, right? Our force is well honed. Now, it's a little awkward right now because I did give a bunch of horse archers to that other captain. We now have 2 attack dogs, and that's temporary. Look at this beautiful perk, right? Plus 5 party size for every city, right? Once you have 6, 7, 8 cities, plus 50, plus 40. Super valuable. The medicine skill's working. And, you know, potential lose, right? What I can do here is I can recruit some of the scum, and I don't think they'll turn. Okay, they still want some. We got some daylight here, and let's do this shit. We're not afraid. We got some skirmishers too, right? Oh shit, he's doing it again to us. He almost did it again. This guy here, man. Now I really want to execute him, right? I want to go in here and be like, there's something I want to discuss, you sack of shit. I'm going to execute you if you ever do that again. Guy, he did it right before the eve of battle again. More like almost as soon as the enemy is about to attack us. He was going to ditch us there. And we might have lost if we didn't have his troops, right? That 91 troops. I don't know, you know, if we win this battle without him. All right. It's a good looking open plains here. We got a nice sunrise to dispose of another KHUZAIT force. And it's amazing they still have forces, right? We've already fought 2 or 3 big KHUZAIT forces. I guess it's not amazing. The KHUZAIT and the Valandians seem, I don't know this factually, but they seem to have the most clans and lords. I don't know why that is, but I can say it's either already changed or it's going to change, right? Tailworlds is adjusting things actively. So I can't give you guys details, but things are changing. Things are happening. They've probably already happened by the time I've released this. And guys are like, well, give us some details. I can't. We're basically not allowed. That's probably more than they would prefer. I'm already telling you they're changing things, right? They may want a complete blackout. And if so, I guess they can scold me. I don't know. Do something worse. there is kind of a black hole from Tail Worlds to the community, and it is kind of strange, right? You would think, and it might be a cultural thing, right? This is a Turkish company. Maybe it's normal to keep everything close to the vest, but the players are very curious, right? Well, are they going to do this? Have they abandoned, Bannerlord? Are they going to do this? Are they going to do that? And the silence is deafening sometimes from them, right? Leading up to the 1.3 update, which was a huge, important, great update to the game, they didn't give it any hype or any kind of like, hey, it's coming, major changes to the graphics and 100 other things. They're adding a stealth system, all these different things that they added. You would think you would try to keep, keep people up to date on all that stuff, right? You want to, don't you? I don't know. I guess you guys can comment. Maybe I'm alone in that idea. But it's nice for people to know the cavalry's on the way, right? That the game is going to get improvements. If there's a DLC that they're working on for down the road, even if they don't know the background of it, I think it would make sense to just say, we can confirm there is another DLC that we're working on. We're not going to give you guys a lot of details yet. Maybe we don't know them yet, but we are going to make another DLC. I think that would help the franchise considerably. Just more dialogue, or at least monologue from Tail Worlds. Them just being more communicative about what's coming. And communication, it could be a cultural thing, but communication is an epidemic across the world. Whether it's war or relationships, it's amazing, in my experience, how many people communicate poorly. As my third year in the fire career, I ran into about 6 or 7 good communicators. The rest were dog shit terrible communicators. It was amazing. Like, guys would go to war with each other instead of just working through problems. They wouldn't try to communicate. And I'd be like, aren't you two gonna try to fix it? And he's like, no, fuck that guy. And I'm like, you're gonna have to work with this guy for a long time. Fuck him. Like, you're just gonna go to war. You're not gonna try to fix stuff. And I don't know if it's ego or lack of skills, but it's amazing how many people just live in kind of a dark world because they refuse to communicate and try to work through stuff with language, right? It's like the best tool for fixing stuff. Most problems, whether it's an insult or even just a day-to-day operational thing like in the firehouse, can be fixed by communicating. So I don't know. I guess I'll get off my soapbox here, because there's a lot of times in my life where I feel like I walk amongst a society that doesn't understand me, and they don't, I don't understand them either. Got a KHUZAIT force here completely surrounded. I'm not going to narrate every single tactic in each one of these battles. It's redundant. You guys know at this stage we're pulling the enemy into the center of the map over and over again and disposing of their forces with horrific kill boxes. The KHUZAIT do kill boxes better than anybody else. All their troops are mobile. In theory, the enemy can never escape the kill box from the KHUZAIT. You could just put your troops at the 4 corners of the map and say, come and get it. He shot that guy's horse to death, and then while he's trying to get off the ground, he got shot in the back. This KHUZAIT force got butchered as bad as you can get butchered. And you hear him yelling for help and screaming. I heard a woman yell, but I'm pretty sure that was just a KHUZAIT. Right? That's just what they sound. It's one of my favorite jokes. I don't think that's a woman. I think that's just KHUZAIT. And we're going to power level a little bit at the end of this battle. In fact, I think this episode, this seems like a good spot to wrap things up, right? Just a throttling here. This KHUZAIT force gets butchered. We gave them a sail, and they should have ran, evidently. There's more screaming. More women are screaming here, so let's shoot them in the back here. Commit some war atrocities. I hear more women yelling, and I think those are all just sword sisters. But it really does sound like this whole KHUZAIT force is screaming like little girls. I've always found that to be, a funny analogy, right? They scream like a woman or whatever. As weak as a woman, it's scientifically proven that women have a higher pain tolerance than men. Scientific, right? That definitive. And I've seen as high as 2.5 times when they've done deep tests. Women handle pain consistently better than men. And it's not just borne out in science. It's borne out in historical anecdotes, the Napoleonic era when they were trying to retreat from Russia in 1812. All kinds of tragedies, people freezing to death, starving, exhausted, walking hundreds of miles while you're being attacked, and you're under fire. And consistently, there were generals and people that were in charge of divisions that said the cooks, the female cooks that were helping the soldiers along, complained less and handled the misery of that march better than the hardened soldier. I just find that fascinating. So I don't think you could say, right, he cried like a girl. We should say cried like a grown man, because man, are we weak bitches with pain. And I don't mean you, although you might be a weak bitch with pain for all I know. I'm just telling you that the male human handles pain, you could say like a bitch, as long as we're talking about, a male. The men just don't handle pain as well as the women. And look at our attack dogs, sick them. That's, again, capture city here as they just maul these various KHUZAIT force, right? They're not standing still to rest, right? Those attack dogs, and it's kind of ironic because they're women. Look at that shit. Altu captured by Kurislava. It's kind of appropriate here. I'm talking about badass. I'm talking about women handling pain, and we've got 2 women cavalry brigades just wrapping up all the just capturing all the KHUZAIT men. Very appropriate. All right, so we just keep rolling here. Right? Let's hit Urzener Castle next. Now this is different, right? This used to access Huss and Folk. So this is a dead end down here, right? That means Urzener Castle is definitively a candidate to be given to a player clan, right? You're looking at opportunities, and anything that's sort of entrenched and hard to get to. For example, Revel, the city of Revel and Ustakel, that's a perfect gift for a companion party, because even though they're accessible via ship, they're a lot harder to reach for a lot of the different kingdoms, right? Northern Empire or whatever it is. If you're playing Sturgia or Britannia, you're definitely wanting to give Revel to one of your player clans, right? One of you guys hopefully know what I mean, right? One of the companion clans, one of the clans that you can make out of thin air. I think it's one of the cooler parts of Bannerlord, that you can effectively make your own clans. You graduate to the point where you become the Khan and can make your own clans. Now they're taking care of business still, right? Just capture city here. And now we've got 2 of them, right? You could definitely argue I could release this other gal, this Rhea, the healer. I released some of the minor player clans, or minor clans, I guess is the best way to put that, right? We've got 3 or 4 different armies there because the KHUZAIT are swarming all over the place. It's nice to have 3 or 4 parties out there because they support each other. If you have only one at this stage, if I left only Rhea the healer or this other gal, they might get captured. But combined with the 2 of them, they're probably going to have a really good chance of rounding up the scum nobles. And you just look in that lower left and keep watching, as you're going to see Teal. Right, you're going to see her capture even more people. I think that said we got clan tier 5 too. Now sometimes they stop and there's no message, right? What that means is they destroyed deserters, they destroyed looters, but it's all good. Not only are they gaining experience, they're gaining money, their troops are leveling up and stuff like that, but it gets rid of all these deserter scum that are attacking your caravans and things like that, right? They're doing good work, like no matter what, as long as they're not being captured. Now, when you see them run way off like that, right, that's when I start to get a little disconcerted. And she's starting to get beat up. When they get beat up, too, the other thing I'll do is sort of bring them into us. It's a little bit like aircraft carrier, right? We're the aircraft carrier and they're the attack planes. And every once in a while, they need to refuel. They need to get some resources. Speaking of resources, you know what she's doing? She's going to go get food. And she's going to get horses. You can actually see she got recruits, too. She dumped a bunch of prisoners, got recruits and stuff like that. That's just fucking beautiful. And I think it's a really cool part. It's one of the parts of Bannerlord that's extremely well done, right? Your minor clans basically, and your little player armies, it's almost as if they're a player out there, right? They're doing all the same stuff that you do as a player. They run to town, they buy food, oh, look at this scum again. He leaves, man. This guy here, get over here, man. I want to execute this guy. It's been a while since I wanted to say I'm here to deliver to my demands, right? Surrender or die. Attack him and kill him, but you can't do that, right? We need his help, first of all, and second, you just totally destroy your reputation with minor clans if you do shit like that. So as frustrating as it is, that's the third fucking time I think that guy has ditched us in this campaign. And there's nothing at all you can do to stop that other than what we're doing, right? A lot of guys, I see it happening on their playthrough and I'm like, no. Those leaders of the minor clans should never leave your party, right? As long as you don't, maybe you don't care about them. Maybe you don't mind if they leave. And we're going to get attacked here. 600, 700. Oh, shit. No, hell no. He's attacking our minor clans as they come in. We attack. And now this guy's scrambling around. We'll catch his ass. We got you. Come with us, Origer. Bad decision. He looks like he's trying to get into the castle. Well, you didn't make it, buddy. Should have attacked. So that minor clan leader, if I have 2 minor clans, I keep both of their leaders in the party. That way, when they leave, you can immediately stop what you're doing, make contact with them again, bitch slap them a couple times, and bring them back into your campaign. Now, we've got a really fascinating landscape here, but we're in a terrible spot. We're kind of a long ways away from the bridge to the right, so we'll just manifest some tactics right where we are here. This is a great tactical map, and when I say that, understand that means the enemy gets destroyed in these kind of maps, right? We're already stronger than this enemy force, so it doesn't really matter. They might play defensive too, because I think we officially are the attacker. We'll see what they do here. It doesn't really matter though, right? We've got a great force. They're shaking with terror. We've got lots of horse archers and skirmishers. Let's see what they do here. Oh yeah, they're doing the typical KHUZAIT mistake. They're sending their horse archers forward to die while the rest of the troops observe. So we'll take advantage of it, right? We're going to play this campaign shy of like major exploits. We're going to play this like anybody else would play Bannerlord who is looking to win, right? We're going to take advantage of bad enemy behavior. We'll quote Napoleon, when the enemy's making mistakes, don't interrupt them. We're going to fight this pretty ruthlessly, and at some point or other, if we're just obliterating everything, we're going to mod the shit out of this campaign. I've mentioned it before. I want to establish kind of a baseline of dominance where it's clear that we've sort of beat the game, so to speak. And then once we have a little foundation of power here, 4 or 5 cities, 4 or 5, 6 castles, then maybe we'll start adding in mods, because at this stage, nothing is challenging our army. Now this force, of course, we're trying to run from us so that they're not going to win. But we're not just going to win here. This force is going to get pulverized into the sand. They've got their archers and a huge amount of infantry. Well, infantry is what you want to face with the horse archers, right? It's your single favorite source of destruction as we just chop that guy right behind his head. Starting to get our glaive dialed in here. We can start moving up our archers. I think we'll use this left side, or right side rather, for skirmishers, horse archers. We're going to be able to surround and drown this poor force of KHUZAIT. Now, I want to operate mostly here in this big open spot. When you're using KHUZAIT tactics, you don't want to be jammed up, right? That's the worst thing for you. They're in a defensive line. They might as well start digging their graves. When you have 60 archers, you can't take a defensive line, right? The AI here should be charging. It obviously doesn't matter what they do here. They're going to get butchered. The power bar favors us. We've got better troops. But even if they charge, they would at least put some pressure on us here. They just wait until their horse archers are butchered. And what's going to happen is they'll charge after the horse archers are butchered, right? So they should be charging now. They should put massive pressure on us first. Instead, they won't. And it's giving us time to destroy their horse archers. And we're suffering very few losses. Start getting the 6th and 7th Corps brought over here. I love pairing skirmishers with horse archers because there's a huge amount of tactical, basically mutual support. Right? If you get zerged by a force, you can put the infantry in a square, pull the horse archers back and pound them. If they get attacked by cavalry, you can open fire with the javelins and have those guys charge while the horse archers hold fire. There's just a ton of different things you can do. And they're probably the 2 strongest unit types in the game. Archers are really powerful in Bannerlord, but to be able to move them in 5 seconds to the enemy's flank, and the enemy has no way to counter that, is unbelievably powerful in Bannerlord. Like, these guys here just completely trap themselves against the wall. You can hear their incompetent commander yelling orders. And very soon you're going to hear him yelling, "Retreat!" As they're sprayed full of arrows. And let's get that 6th pushed way back over there. Attack! This little KHUZAIT force that we're building is starting to get its groove on here. Skirmishers open fire. They've got space between the enemy vanguard as they come in. Of course, at this stage, the KHUZAIT are also starting to get war-weary. We've been beating the shit out of them. And so they're down to a lot of footmen and spearmen, which is like tier 3 or tier 4. You don't see it full of dark hands. And that's something we'll have to adjust with mods, right? This force here is just of no consequence to our army. You could just see a stream of javelins pouring in behind the enemy. Now we can get horse archers to wrap up their force. We can also just charge their ranks here with horse archers from behind. They'll have to either turn around and get exposed to our archers or keep running while they get filleted. And they're in a kill box. Now these archers are a threat. There's a bunch of them here. So what do? Right? I like to just run them over with horse archers. This is your big advantage too with archers or horse archers over archers, is your horses knock them all over the place, right? They're trying to scurry to safety. Meanwhile, they're trampled by a bunch of high-end cavalry. And the consguards and whatnot break out their glaive and just start pulverizing. This KHUZAIT force, they're stoically fighting, and they do have a bunch of infantry here causing some losses, but another exterminating battle here. And peasant, get off me, peasant. Level up some of our skills here. I still get some very thoughtful tacticians, right? Guys that clearly have a lot of experience with Bannerlord that swear up and down that Consguards are better than Fiend Champs because of the movement. What I will say is this. I think both of the units are basically unrivaled, right? The Aserai Vanguard Ferris. And that is because their capacity to kill is just astounding. The fact that they can also both run away from their enemy, right? This is the disadvantage of the Fiend Champion. Those are definitely the top 3 units in the game, in my opinion. There's a wide distance still between those 3 and Banner Knights, etc., because of the tactical opportunities. Banner Knights can charge, but they don't have any ability to kill at range. But your Consguards, under the control of an advanced player, are very deadly. I just think the Vanguard Ferris has more versatility. Siege defense, for example, siege offense, making defensive squares. And I think just the overall initial DPS is so staggering from Aserai Vanguard Ferris. No single force blows the enemy off the battlefield more than 100 Vanguard Ferris. So we will do an Aserai campaign well down the road. I want to put a little other campaigns ahead of it, and also a little time distance from the other Aserai campaign. And maybe we'll do a Camel Aserai campaign down the road. We're going to break these episodes into chunks here. I got to reinforce a couple locations here, and we're going to roll on with this campaign, friends. Of course, if you want to see more, now's your time to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Please hit that like button on the way out, and I will see you, friends, next time.